All right, so I'm going to be talking about shapeshifting and the potential of that. And I know right when I say shapeshifting, you guys are thinking werewolves, Um, Even the ancient Indian cultures used to uh, have knowledge on this. Some dark Indian tribes actually practiced, and supposedly, according to the history, the myths and the legends. I don't know how much of a reality it was, but apparently they shapeshifted and were able to shapeshift into, birds, different animals, birds and wolves and whatnot. But I'm going to be talking more about how you can shapeshift your inner being, and it's not a good thing, right? Because like this is where you can change your identity inside, and it's like your mind. Your mind. You can perceive yourself as when we're all children, we actually practice this, believe it or not. But we had the innocent, childlike mindset, and we're like, I'm Superman. I'm doing this. I'm killing the bad guys, and I'm killing zombies or whatever your imagination was as a kid. You were doing something in your mind, but you were acting it out in real life. You know what I mean? So there's people, as time continues in the human life, people get corrupted more and more and more, and it's no longer some innocent, fun, happy playtime mindset. It's where people do this for malicious purposes, and they if any of you guys are familiar with the astral realm, they call it astral projection. It's basically where there's different opinions on it, guys. It's really open. You got to keep an open mind on the labels that they slap on it. But it could be your consciousness. Could be some people say it's your soul. A lot of people talk about how they can see a silver cord attached to the body, from the physical body to this other ethereal body, right? I've been there a few different times, and I know it's real, just as real as this world. And I hear a lot of stories because I'm interested in the other type of realm, and I hear a lot of stories about people who, whether willingly or unwillingly, experience these beings that they see, and more times than not, they end up. Well, see, everybody has stories, like good stories or bad stories with it, like positive experiences and seeing angels, or just something that's very benevolent, or they can see something that's malevolent, something very evil and sinister, something out to get them, something where, if you've seen a Hollywood horror movie, you just see all those weird monsters that people just conjure up in their own imagination, and then they put it on a screen, right? Like, how do they know that these monsters do or do not exist? All I know is, the classic picture of the devil with his horns and the pitchfork, and like a red body. Even the cartoons back in the day painted this picture of the devil, and like angels with wings and stuff like that, with a halo around their head, with a little ring around their head. This is a lot of stuff is the imagination of men. So if we can understand that we are capable of not only imagining this stuff, but actually manifesting this stuff, well, through technology now, to where other people can see the imaginations of another person's mind. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm getting at? It's like, this is actually very powerful. And when you go into the astral realm, whether willingly or unwillingly, because it is I'll call it a phenomena, where I think the statistics were at least half the population have experienced at least one of these out of body experiences. And more times than not, when you were a kid, when you were a child, you had a lot of flying dreams and stuff like that, So it's definitely something that's very natural, that is just part of human existence. Now I could get into the agenda of, like, I think there was an agenda, or still an agenda, to keep us locked into the body, through the calcification of the pineal gland, I think is one big one. And just the dumbing down of the real you, the inner you, the mind, the will, and the emotions, your soul. It's like they're trying to block that and hinder that to make you think there's just the physical body. But anyways, going back into that realm, or even a dream. Okay, there's people who you find out, like I found out. Okay, it's a shape shifting activity, and they'll come as an angel of light, or in a more practical experience, they'll come as your loved ones, somebody that you know personally in real life, and they will look like them. They'll even act like them, very so much so that you will not be able to tell. 9 times out of 10, you won't be able to tell. Just like kind of a different topic, but it's the same example of like how they're beaming the direct energy weapons and the radio frequencies and the intrusive thought weapons and the voice to skull, voice of God weaponry. You know, this is all very, very similar to what psychiatrists and psychologists diagnose people as having bipolar or schizophrenia or whatever else. You know, I believe this is a brand new symptom. Schizophrenia is actually a brand new symptom in modern day age. You know, I don't want to start making assumptions here, but it seems to me that it's leaning more towards this weaponization. You wouldn't be able to tell. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie The Exorcist, where the lady, you know, in the mental ward was talking to the radio, and she's like, she told the doctor or the exorcist or whatever, she's like, don't worry, I wouldn't, you know, if I was you, I wouldn't be able to tell either the difference, you know, because they're beaming radio waves through you know, frequencies, coupled with frequencies. I wouldn't be surprised if they're using some sort of scalar technology as well. Just a lot of stuff that I myself have done many hours of research on. I'm going to get back in a point, but still, you know, I just haven't discovered the full reality of it yet. And I don't think anybody has, because there's a lot of very, very smart people, but they're also using this for weaponization. They're taking measures to protect themselves, to keep this underground. You know, I believe the mental facilities and all this stuff is all just a cover up, and it's, you know, the people who work at these facilities and stuff, they're not to blame, because they're just mind controlled from college. They're just trained by what they learn, and they stand by it, man. They're like faithful to that, you know, because it's what they learned. But they don't want to have an open mind, truly. Like they're by the books. Like, this is what it is. This is what we learned from our teachers, and you know, to them it's truth, you know. So I don't blame them. I don't judge them or blame them. I want to open people's eyes to this reality. But getting back into this, it's like, it's the same thing. It's like, you wouldn't know if it was your loved one or not in a dream. Like, how would you know? You know what I mean? How would you even know, like, what the Matrix says? Like, how can you define real? What is real? How do you know dreams are not real? You know, electrical impulses interpreted by your brain, right? You'd have to experience it to really understand it. And it's so much like the Matrix, because, like, Morpheus knew. He knew both realms, both worlds. You know, Cypher, he wanted to go back into the Matrix, but Trinity was like, yo, Cypher, it's not real. And he's like, no, I beg to differ. You know what I mean? Because he was consumed by all the stuff that the Matrix offered, you know, eating the steaks and the high living, high life. But so where am I getting at? What am I going to? Is like, man, you got to be careful, because these shapeshifters can come off as your family members in your dreamland. Next thing you know, you wake up and you have something, because it could be very negative, right? It could be a loved one saying something that you got to go somewhere or do something, or whatever it could be, and you accept that and take that in. I remember watching. I used to watch the movie or a TV series called Supernatural with Sam Winchester and Dean Winchester, and there was an episode where Sam had some sort of rogue angel like inside him or something like that, like possessing him, like secretly in the back corner of his mind, and Sam never knew about it, because he would like the angel would like switch on and like take over Sam's mind at will, and just become a totally, you know, to the outside world, he'd be like a totally different person. It'd be like that angel like literally taking over that soul at will. So what they did was they went into his dreamland, into Sam Winchester's dreamland, and it was actually his brother who did it, and he went in and said, or no, it wasn't his brother. It was somebody who did something about going into his mind to try to wake him up to that reality that he was being controlled and manipulated from within, you know. And he actually like accepted, somehow, some way he accepted help by being deceived. He came off as his brother actually in his dreamland, and he got him to say yes to inviting somebody in his own being. It's kind of like complicated. I don't even know if I explained that right, but like he came off as his brother in the dreamland to convince him to give him an answer, because he knows that this angel knew that if he could go inside this person's mind or dreamland or astral world and say, hey, do this, do this, do this, I'm your brother. And he's like, oh, okay, okay. And then as soon as he like shook hands with him and agreed with him, then he morphed into the angel, and then he took over, you know what I mean? And then there was another episode where another person actually went inside and exposed him within, you know what I mean? Said, hey, this is who it really is. You need to kick this rebellious angel out of your mind. You know what I mean? So this is what a lot of demons actually do, guys. Is they try to hitch a free ride in your vehicle, in your vessel. Your body is the vessel, man. It's a vehicle that only belongs to you. God gave it to you, and God should be the one dwelling in the temple, and God alone. You know what I mean? So you're going to have a lot of people try to manipulate you in your dreamland. Many times we are unaware. Many times we wake up and we don't know. We just consider it some dream, like, oh, I had a dream with some person, and some loved one told me to do something or act on some sort of way, you know. This goes into the same topic of familiar spirits, you know, where witches work with, they probably don't even call themselves witches, you know, but they work with like familiar spirits, and they talk to dead people and all this other crazy stuff. And it seems all innocent, and they think they're all doing something. They probably think they're doing something good. You know, that's the deception. They call it white magic, you know, and many, if not all, people who practice these magical arts are greatly deceived, because you know what they don't realize is that they're working with demons. You know, they're working with demons, and they have no goodwill towards you. They just want to use you, abuse you, and they have to give you some sort of incentive to keep you sucked in, because they realize that if you are smart enough to know the agenda behind these demons who infiltrate your mind, they become mingled with you. Believe it or not, they meld with your soul. And this is why witches get that sense of like power. They have that extra they have like certain abilities, you know. They can sometimes read people's thoughts. They can see people's auras. So they get this sense of power, you know what I mean, that they're doing something, and they're like that they're important, you know, and that they're protecting or something like that, protecting themselves or others. It always has to be deceived like that. But you know, if you could really expose them for who they are, you would see their true colors or lack of colors. And a lot of this stuff, you can fully see it, you know, willingly or unwillingly in the astral realm, because you know, even in the astral realm, they can disguise themselves as angels of light or your loved ones. But you know, the Bible says test the spirits for a reason, and it's for occasions like this. You know, you can do it to a waking person, because you know, in the fleshly realm, because it is what it is. It's from within, and if they speak, then you know what's going on. If they lack the ability to answer your question properly, I don't have the verse here, but it says test the spirits whether they are of God or not. You know, so if someone's claiming that they're a Christian and secretly going home, you know, worshiping demons or something, you ask them the question is like, do you believe that Jesus is the Son of God, that Jesus came from heaven to earth to die for the sins of all those who believe in him, and that God raised him up on the third day? You know, generally you ask them that. And if the spirit within these men and women in the real life waking world try to avoid the question or try to say, yeah, you know, yeah, well, you know, if they're trying to be cunning about it, it's a yes or no answer, you know. Then you'll know what's really going on, right? This is how you test the spirit. I've done this to people in real life who I thought were legitimate, and come to find out, and I was like, man, this is the worst news I've ever heard in my life, because I never would have expected that. You know what I mean? So there's a video game that I still kind of play, and there was a quest that I went on, and you had to talk to these they were NPCs, non-player controlled bots, and you had to talk to them and try to figure out who was pretending to be a citizen in this certain part of the city in the game. And they looked like them, they acted like them, they talked like them. You had to figure it out. Once you figured it out, it was like a poof of smoke, and then the demon showed up, you know what I mean? And then said, oh, you've exposed me, and then they try to attack me, and I got to kill the demon, right? But this is actually how it really is in real life, is you expose them, you cast those demons out, and you get rid of them. You know what I'm saying? This is really where the battle is within the mind, within. You know, it's not where, because demons don't like to float around. Okay, it says that in the Bible, like they float around in the desert. Obviously, they don't like that. They don't like to roam around, so they seek back. Remember that story where the demons were casted out of that person, the vessel, the house. It was swept and cleaned because the demon came back to the same house. He's like, oh, I know, I'm gonna go back. They don't want to be without a home. They don't have a home. They need to use you as a home, as a vessel. Okay. So the demon went back and found that his house, his body, his mind, his will, his emotions were it was swept and clean, but there was nothing. There was nothing to fill it back up to where the demon had no room. Okay, so you got to fill it up with something when the demons come out, when the demons get out. The reason why demons can go in and out of a lot of people is because when the Spirit of God dwells in there is no room for a demon. There is no room for demons. Okay, this is why, like, unless you're saved, unless you're born again, demons can just hop in and out of you. They can play all sorts of games with you in your dreamland and in astral realm. They think they're doing something. It's 9 times out of 10, demons are taking you places and doing things, and they're using you as the vehicle because you're the one who is powerful, not them. So they got you all twisted up, thinking that they're the powerful ones and they're the ones who are helping you. No, you're the ones who are actually helping the demons, and you don't want that. See, this is the trickery. This is the mind games that they'll play with you. They'll make you think that they're the powerful ones, that they're the ones to be worshipped. Like, no, if you even understood demons and all this other stuff, the shapeshifters, how they roll, bro, like they're like insects, man, for real. Like in this real life, you wouldn't worship a freaking ant. Would you worship a cockroach? This is basically what they are. You see a lot of entities in the astral realm, a lot of weird stuff in the maybe like the neutral to lower plane. Like you see a lot of weird insect creatures, a lot of octopus type, just random weird stuff. Like this is basically their real identity. It's like microscopic organisms. You've ever seen those under the microscope? It's freaking weird looking. You know what I mean? Just be careful because they can shapeshift and they can because how I was talking about earlier about technology and stuff, how they can implant thoughts in your mind. Well, it's both sides. They can also do this spiritually. It's not just in a technological way, guys. It's both. Okay, you have to understand that the spirit realm is very real. Okay, so like Paul said, he said we're getting attacked on all sides, in all different sorts of ways. It's not just one way that you get attacked as a targeted individual. You can get attacked in your dreamland, in the astral realm, in real life, in so many different ways, guys. So all I'm really trying to sum this video up is we've got to be careful about these shapeshifters, because like if someone's rolling around with the shapeshifting, they could have accepted something in the astral realm without even fully being aware that they've mingled themselves with some sort of being, right? Then they go wake up back into the waking world. Well, they got that shapeshifter living inside of them. That you got to be careful for those types of people you see in real life. And like I said, that's how you weed them out. You weed them out by asking them that question. You test the spirits. And you help that individual to be free. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's unknowingly. Sometimes it's through, just stupidity or making wrong choices. You forgive them and help them out and get rid of those shapeshifters. But, if you're unaware, if you don't have that spirit that can show you stuff like this, they'll easily deceive you. You know what I mean? They'll easily mess with you. And like these shapeshifters that have integrated into the human being vessels, if you come across one, those are the ones who can really mess with your mind. Those are the ones who are very good at manipulation and mind control, and just like the mind games in the real life waking world, like face to face. They can really excel in the business world. They do very well because they can manipulate you. You know what I mean? Without you truly ever knowing, if you don't have the discernment of God. So yeah, man. Like the light always exposes the darkness, guys. The light will always expose the darkness, and this is what we need more in this world is more of Jesus Christ, the bright and shining morning star living within the hearts of men. And then these demons will have no room to operate because they don't really operate. They need a vehicle to operate in. That's all I can say. So when they have no room to operate in this world, it's almost like they're starved out. They starve out, and they nobody likes to roam in the desert, man. Like you're powerless in the desert. You know what I mean? You're dry, parched, you can't do nothing. You got no vehicle. It's like the sun is scorching hot. It's like, yeah, the demons are 100% worthless there. They can't do anything. That's why they always go back to the ones they got ejected from. Because it's, number one, it's a familiar house to them, you know, and number two, they, like I said, they have to have some sort of vehicle to operate in. And this is why so many people are unknowingly giving a foothold to the enemy, you know, through his foot soldiers, the demons, because they don't have the Spirit of God. They think they're, you know, living all free and say, I don't need Jesus, I don't need, you know, none of this crap. And little do they know they got demons going in and out of them all day. You know, it's almost like they're being soul raped daily. You know, and they're sitting there asking themselves why their life is going to hell. You know, all this crazy, stupid stuff happening. Well, that's why, guys. You you got to have Jesus Christ, the light, the bright and shining morning star within your heart, to really get these. You know, it's an automatic ejection of these demons, and your life will shift dramatically. You know, and then you'll take on a whole new, different type of weight. You know, and this is called persecution. You'll get persecuted, you know, as a Christian, because these demons are probably pissed that they can't get inside you anymore. They can't mess with you anymore, you know, and it's a whole new world of goodness, but it also brings, you know, the persecution. You know, it is what it is. You have to, as a Christian, you have to carry that cross no matter what. You don't have a choice. There is a weight that you carry in this life as a Christian, you know, so don't like freak out if like you're experiencing that as a Christian, because hey, that's actually, you know, it's like pumping weights in the gym, man. You got to get stronger. This builds your faith. It builds your endurance. It builds your patience, all sorts of good stuff. You know what I mean? In the end, this is the product of it, the outcome of it. But your life will be millions of times better if you accepted Jesus Christ as your Savior, you know, invite him into your life. These demons will have no more authority. Another thing they'll try to deceive you, even as a Christian after being saved, is they'll try to trick you that they still have rights over your land, over your property. It's like, no, my body, this property belongs to God. No demon, no angel can trespass. If they are trespassing, if they do try to trespass, you have the authority and the power to boot them out, to get them out of this area, to get them out of this land, you know, to send them back to hell, you know, to send them to the desert, you know. Jesus sent them to the pigs, you know. Pigs jumped off and dove in the water, you know. So it is what it is, man. Demons are not your friends, okay? They're not your friends. You got to see them for what they are. They can shapeshift. A lot of times, like I said, it's in your dreams, guys. Be careful. If you think you've seen your loved one and it ends up kind of weird, it's probably, well, it's not your loved one, because especially if your loved one or family member or a person that you know is still alive, you're going to go up to that person like, I had a dream about you, and it's probably, you're going to have that perception of what you if you're not aware, you're going to have that perception of that person that you had in the dream, and it could change a real life relationship that never even, you know, in real life never even happened in the first place. You see what I'm saying? So if you are guided by that type of stuff, if you get lost or tripped up, it can easily mess you up in a real life too. So just be careful, guys. That's all I'm saying. You know, watch out for these shapeshifters. And I hope you guys have a good day. We'll see you on another video. Peace.